What's going on, everybody? Welcome. Oh, you're here and then you're gone. Okay, well, good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Got a different keyboard out today. Making lots of progress on this project. Feeling good about it, but I need to keep working. So I'm here today. Hope you guys are doing well. I see a few people are in here, so hello. And check it out. This has been, we'll just kill tmux. So as of yesterday, last night's stream, we got this working pretty well. And so now we can do like downloads, and downloads pulls up my file picker. I can also do things like tmux, and it opens up my tmux config and my gitmux file in a split. That was kind of fun setting up. Simple things like westerm. I want to open the westerm file. And so sesh config. It's even faster now that I have these custom names. I'm able to jump to things really fast. The startup command is doing a good job. The startup script is still doing its job. Startup script. Let's see if this one works. joshmedeski.com. I've been having some issues with Node. There we go. That time it started. So again, we don't need that open. So it's good progress so far. What's next is, well, one thing I don't have working. I don't know if it's probably a regression. I guess that's the startup command, is this asterisk. So previously I was able to say that I want to partially match. Very powerful feature. You can save yourself a lot of headaches. Unfortunately, the way that Go works, we can't do double wildcards like this. But that works just fine. But I want to get like tmuxinator or one of those other tmux.p is the project that we might play with today. So tmux.p. Let's go ahead and close all this. So this is arc, and I got my little stream mode. So we'll do our little development cycle. And then we got our sesh config. And we also want to look at this one. I don't know if I should merge this to like a working branch or something, but feel free to ask questions. If you have any ideas about what we're working on, feel free to reach out. I'm not expecting Andres here today. I have a few people that definitely are here on the regular. And so I always enjoy having some conversations while we code. So please feel free to reach out. We can talk about stuff. But we are going to mess with tmux.p support. So this should be fairly straightforward. It is something we can install via brew. Oh. And then we can create splits. Via JSON and YAML. That was definitely YAML. Wait, so you can also do JSON? Got it. So you can just load. So then that's our project. Let's play with I guess we'll just play with my tmux session. So if we sesh config, it's going to look something like this. So tmux will have, instead of a startup script, it'll be a tmux.p script. what do they call these? Load. Socket path thing work space file. If we were to do something like that, that would be more specific to the project. P tmux YAML, something like that. We should just be able to load it. So if we go back to tmux and we create that file, oh, you're here. Andres is here, everybody. What's going on, man? More bonus streams. We're going to just stream all week at this point. I'm not actually sure. I should, well, shouldn't I update my little file? Put this guy here. There we go. We got to match the theme, right? So we're just going to do tmux support today. We're going to find out how much of this changes because this is tmux. We'll give it like a window. Let's go to do not disturb. Shell command before run as first command on all panes? No. No. Shell command. Pane number 1. Oh, I see. Echo, hello world, and then ls, la, lsd. Let's make that bigger for you guys. All right, so if that is what we're playing with, then I guess we'll just verify that this works. So if I go to tmux and I tmux p load, tmux p that. Oh, created in detached state. Interesting. And there are our panels. So, all right, well, then that proves that it works. It also is fine, I think, that append windows in the current active session. Oh, that's interesting. We could like use this tooling maybe to say on the current project do the following things to it, which is an idea, I guess. You can load multiple at once. That's interesting. And then you can name it, which probably is the path I would go. So let's go to the CLI and let's go to let's follow the connect command. That might be a little too much. All right, so the connect command will find the session. If the session doesn't exist, then it will create the new session. Where does this end? Oh, this is the whole thing. All right. So it's one of those that like, instead of creating the new session, load tmux p if exists. So rather than immediately creating the new session, we would then run the persistent command, run all these other commands, and then afterwards we attach to it if it's attached, or we always switch, then we switch, otherwise we attach. All right, so This is going to be one of those things that will probably switch to that session, and the session needs to be created if we can get the startup command. So this is going to be like func get tmux p config. And what did we call this? It's not tmux p config, it's, I guess we need to define it, config tmux p should be enough. Get tmux p, yeah. We call it like workspace file or something. So maybe we need to do better and config. Maybe we need to name it that. So this is in the tmux, no, not tmux. What is it? The sesh config. We named this. I think we might just do this. I don't think there's a lot of ways around this. What's going on, people? See a few more people jumping in and joining us. Feel free to say hi. We're back. The greatest tmux plugin ever made, right? I appreciate the compliment. Yeah. This is getting like exponentially better as I have been implementing this feature. And so this will be just another layer. So that's tmux.p, that's tmux.p, that's tmux.p. We're going to get it. We're going to get it early. So basically this part, we're going to not create a new session. If tmux.p get tmux.p and tmux.p doesn't equal that, then instead of getting this, executing the startup command, we're going to execute tmux.p. And so we'll be loading the, how does it determine what the path of the project is? Do they have more details? Freeze, convert, plugins. Does that make sense? I want to say, oh, interesting. So we could fetch these and listen to them. So if we load this session, I don't understand how it determines the root. tmsp config, sure. Start directory, that would be it. I guess this would be up to the user. They need to understand tmux.p. If they don't understand tmux.p, I don't want to handhold. So you're either a tmux.p user or you're not. But it is the thing we've been talking about, and the thing I have to deal with is introducing these things adds complexity for sure. But at the same time, we really just, I find implementing a few of these, at the very least, it'll just do whatever their CLI does. What's up, Dantes? I have not done like C# development. Is that what you're asking? I have a Windows computer here next to me that I do like gaming and stuff like that. But I don't build Windows apps, if that's what you're wondering. But if you're using like WSL, you should be able to use a tmux workflow with a Unix-based system. Of course, I don't think tmux works in PowerShell. I'm pretty sure tmux is a Unix-based thing, so Mac OS and Linux are going to be better served. But you can run virtual machines in Windows now really easily. So if you're not using tmux there, it would probably be worth it if you aren't hooked into PowerShell. I know there's some PowerShell users out there. More power to you if that kind of tooling makes you productive. But the Unix stuff has a lot to offer. And cool tmux plugins like mine, right? Which I actually have a really interesting idea for the next sesh command. So we have sesh connect, we have sesh list. I have this idea of sesh build, which can detect the project and execute the appropriate build command on a tmux pane or a tmux pop-up or a tmux split or whatever it is that you want to do. So that may be fun to play with here after we get this feature working. All right, so the startup script executes that, but I want persistent command. I don't want to run. Let's just go ahead and move forward with this. I think we're gonna have to make a tmux package. And we're going to want to do what we've been doing with Zoxide and tmux and all of the other like tooling, which is we expose a public function that lets us basically, so we're going to tmux / tmux, right? So the package is tmux, and similar to what we're doing with Zoxide, no, not Zoxide. Yeah. We want this command function. We want to do something similar. tmux command, right? What do we call this? Command, yeah. And so this will do tmux. We call it, we do a path lookup. We'll rename that. Otherwise, we get the output. Hey, good question. Why am I using Go instead of Lua? Happy to talk about that. So the CLI itself is using a really great package called YourFav CLI. It is super streamlined, super simple to the point. If we wanted to look at our commands like our list command, we got names, we got aliases, we got usage, we've got flags, arguments are used as well. And so Go is really good at packaging, so it has a package management system versus Lua is sort of module based, and Lua's modules are very loose and Go is very strict. Because Go is strict, it gives you like boundaries that are really clear. So the boundaries are like, you know, the formatting and the way in which you name things and the way in which you expose public and private things. All of these things are toolings that Go is providing me, and it all compiles out to a binary very easily. I didn't do a crazy amount of research on Lua. Lua is an option, but I don't like Lua's weak typing system. I don't like Lua's sort of ambiguity when it comes to the development cycle. It's very like vague in the way in which you implement things. With Go, it's more opinionated, which means you can lean on those opinions and get work done faster, at least in my opinion. And so that ambiguity causes problems. And so I picked Go. For those that don't know, this project was originally written in Bash. And because it was written in Bash, it was just one big file. And the idea of like flags and arguments and subcommands and all of those concepts, it wasn't very scalable. And so the moment that we wanted to introduce some new feature, which we've done, if you go back in my live streams, if you go back like 6 months, you'll see me developing the original plugin in Bash, and a lot of headaches. It was just very complicated, and we had to like shift a ton of code around. What ultimately happened is a lot of like arguments and flags. It was very hard to parse what the user inputted. And we learned kind of in hindsight that there was also a huge performance bottleneck with Bash scripting. And so as a proof of concept, and like 50,000 YouTube views later, and like 300 stars later, people liked the idea. And so I was like, okay, clearly there's lots of people that now depend on this workflow. And so I decided to, when we recreated it, we chose Go. We were looking at Rust. Rust was sort of probably second place contender, but I found when I looked at Rust code, it was sort of complicated, and the learning curve is there, and there's some memory management that has to be done, things like that. And so it was sort of overwhelming to think about trying to learn Rust if I never had written any before. And I had experimented with Go in the past. So that experimentation led me to make this, what I think ultimately was the right decision, which is not really right and wrong in the development world. It's just, you pick a framework, you pick a language, you pick tooling, and you hope that it serves the project as best it can. And I've been very happy with this so far, albeit error handling and package management. There are areas and elements here where I've really appreciated chat being here to give me some help. And we've already got, I think, 12 contributors, something close to that. So other people have stepped in and helped as well, which again wasn't really possible with one giant bash file. So that was my long-winded attempt at explaining kind of the language behind that choice. Oh yeah. Dr. K, no, my font isn't this big. This is my default font. And you guys can't see that very well, or at least it's not fair to you to have such small font. But I'm on a 27-inch studio display, so I can see in that little font, it's nice and crispy, and I can have lots of splits. But on stream, I don't expect any of you to see that little text. Am I going blind? Do I have to squint and lean in? I'm going to lean into the monitor and try to look. No, I'm not blind. I'm just trying to make it more casual and fun for you guys. All right. So tmux, we've got our command. We do a path lookup. We have the command itself with args, and then we return the output. All right, so then what do we do with sockside? Sockside list does what? We do the command this way. Yeah, I think I'll still stream tomorrow like we have planned, but I'm streaming extra bonus streams because this YouTube video on sesh, I really want it to come out. I need to keep working on it. I need it to exist. And I really want these new features that we're working on, like right now this week, I really want them in and working before I publish the video, because without them, I found that the selling point of sesh was like, well, I don't have to switch to sesh, or maybe I don't need sesh, or maybe it's just like kind of useful. And with the config options, it makes it like way more useful. Like within the last 2 days, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like way better, which I know is already a pretty decent workflow. And so that's sort of what's gotten me excited about this. So you're getting some extra time for me this week. Let's see. So I basically want to take the command. What did we call this? tmux load. So this is the load command. So package tmxp func load. So we take the tmxp command, and if error, we return, what is it going to return? I guess it's going to return error. Error. Let's try that again. All right, and so output, I guess we should probably dump the output. Yes, great question. I have a Discord server. Go to my website, joshverdesky.com. Sorry, dark mode's coming. And up here, there's a little Discord button. And if you're not sure where it is, you can go down here to the bottom as well. There's a bigger Discord button. Yeah, come join the Discord server. We have a good time on there, talking about all of these things all the time. All right, so we're going to return nil. And then what does this one do? So this one was a bunch of cleaning the output. So this is my loading. And we're going to load session name. I don't know if it matters. Why don't we just call workflow file? Is that what they called it? tmxp load workspace file. All right. So that'll be a path. We're just going to load. And then how did it work? List was just a string, right? Ah, come on, go inside. I need a reference to what I'm doing. All right, so I can do this. Let's try it. So I want to we can G vertical split V. So that's this guy. And then I want to append to chat. Visual append after. No. How do I do this? I want to add it to what I have. We already talked about this. I'm gonna get good at this. And when I'm good at this, it's just gonna be like superpowers. Okay, so format the load command into the golangs array. Is that right? I don't know if that's right. But I'm getting better. I kind of wanted to do this. So we're going to load the session name. Oh, I don't care about, or that part. This will be workspace file. I don't know what the ls does. Do we know what the ls does? Load session. That's the install load. I think this is just leftover. So load does load. And then format, I guess we'll print the output just to see what it's about. Output expected a string, but it got bytes. That's right. So what, we have to clean the output by stringifying it? Is that enough? All right, so we're getting close. So now we have our tmux load. So now on our connect command, we went to the tmux connect. We might have to move some of this logic out of the tmux connect, maybe. I don't know. I guess it works here fine. We get the tmux p. If it's not that, then we tmux p dot load. Oh, tmux p dot load, and we load the session dot tmux p. Oh no, it's going to be from the config. The matching session. It comes from this config. We want to get the returned values, so it's just the tmux p. We get that from the config. I guess these aren't named well. It is what it is, isn't it? Work. What did we call this? Not workspace. Work. Yeah, workspace. Something like that. This is Capuchin with transparency mode set so that I can have the transparent background, and then a bunch of tweaks. I've modified a ton of stuff from the UI side. What's up, Jersey? You're here. Jersey's here, everybody. What's up? We're nerding out tonight. I think we're about to be able to test this, actually. So it will load. The only thing is, maybe we do need to pass the name of the session in only so that when we get to the bottom, we can successfully use the name. The name is super important, right? So let's just say session name is a string. And let's, what did we say this was? It was -s. So -s, session name, and then workspace file. Feels a little bit overly descriptive. Yep, Capuchin, you guessed right. It's a pretty popular theme. What I like about it the most is that it integrates with so many plugins that you get a very consistent environment. I've actually contributed to the NeoVim Capuchin plugin so that it is even more reinforced with more plugins. So if you ever see a Git blame with my name on it, that was me. So we're loading session name, workspace file. Okay, so that will ensure that when we run, let's go to the right tmux p. When we load it, that we take s.name, we load our thing. Does this look different to you? Yeah, I've gotten rid of a bunch. This top corner is something called incline. I don't have a bottom bar. There's none, 0. It's not enabled. It's completely disabled. No line numbers, no indentations, like no invisible characters, like none of that's there. Which I plan on making some sort of video about that, but to me the sesh stuff is more important right now. So maybe look out in the future for feedback. All right, let's try it. So on my config, I'm just going to go ahead and move this guy up a bunch so it's nice and easy to see. The path, the tmux config, the name, it all looks good. Is that going to show up first? It is. Oh, check this out. I can hit B, and it builds immediately. Command B. If I hit Command B, keycaster. Some of you guys like this. Would this be useful to you today? Do you want to see what I type as I type it? So we'll move this guy a little closer. All right, so if you want to see what I'm doing, this is how I get around. So let's run it. Oh, and we got an error. That's all right. I actually have an idea here. I want to go to my update. So let's go to bin. What is now? Now is date in this format. I figured out a way that we can deal with oh, this one's not going to work. Damn it. tmux new -s tmux, and then we go to config slash. I can just do this, tmux. tmux p executable found in path. tmux p. It is there. Interesting. Ugh. Why is this so much work? This is literally the file that I want to change. When you are working over your own productivity tools, this kind of stuff will happen. All right, so what I think I wanted to do is temp let's just get out of here. Temp. It's /temp, right? Okay, so my idea, if I can do it, is to put this guy in a temp directory, and then sesh. This is temporary, so the date thing. Do I have a good reference to the date? Guess we're gonna have to do that. That's my idea. Let's see if it works. tmux should crash. Config. I can actually go ahead and watch this. I'm going to show you guys how this works. So I know everything's a little bit funky right now. Maybe it's hard to follow. I know. I'm fumbling because my tooling broke. So basically, we're going to go to the config, and it's going to not work. Why is it not working? Oh, it just doesn't work at all anyway, in any way. Why is that? Why is it crashing at all? Now we should have tmux sesh. I should see sesh files. Do I not? Oh, because it's that. Okay. There we go. There's the sesh file. So we keep getting this error. I spelt it wrong. How about that, chat? Do you think I might need to spell it right? Do you think that matters? Yay! I learned how to spell tmux. How exciting! Okay. I'm moving too fast. Maybe I have too much caffeine in me. Okay, so we definitely need to rebuild. And false alarm, tmux. Okay, so now that's not working. So we're going backwards. File type classification empty. It's empty. Empty, empty, empty. Exit status code 1. That's not useful. So that's, I'm going to stick to that. So sesh config gives me that. We know that that file's right. So then on the CLI, we've got our command, we've got our load. Let's print session name and workspace. Why did that do that? Format print line. I had it right here. Guess we'll find out if that is the root cause. tmux workspace file. Let's see if I were to take this and cat it gives me the right thing. So then where is our error coming from? Exit status code 1. Can we not load that session? We were supposed to print here. Maybe we're not getting there. So when we connect, I thought I had, is my tmux connect? Oh, it's, I probably should move this. Maybe I will. Oh, it's all here. Yeah. I'm gonna do this. Let's see, so get rid of that. tmux, connect. I like it. So I can move more of those files later, but what matters is that this runs, redeclared. Oh, because is it still here? There we go. Supposed to get moved. All right, so we are connected. Let's build. What a dumb error message. It's dumb. No tiling manager. I just use Raycast to reposition my window if I want. I tend to have single windows stacked and at full size. That's how I tend to get stuff done. I don't tend to have more than one window at focus at once. Plus I can switch between stuff with Alt. So I do Alt A and W. Why isn't this working? It keeps giving me a status code, but it's not actually being useful. So I guess we can verify. I'm pretty sure it's in my clipboard still. Yeah, it is. tmux p load -s. Maybe it needs to be in quotes. That's my guess. All right, so then in the CLI, we will make sure that this is in quotes. Let's see if ChatGPT can tell me anything. So how do I make sure? Actually, let's try it the other way. Whisper, rewrite. Make sure session name is always wrapped in quotes. There we go. Pretty cool, huh? I can talk to my editor and it will rewrite code for me. All right, so then that's that. tmux. Ooh, we're getting close, chat. I feel like we're getting close. So what command ends up being ran? That's my question, right? So we never get output, we get error. When we call error on, where are we at? On the connect. tmux, I keep forgetting it's tmux, it's doing all this. Error must be what gets logged here. So it's failing. Maybe we need to do some format print line error. Didn't even help. Why is this choosing append? I don't understand why this started happening. Why do I have to go down, up 6? That makes no sense. Yeah, what is going on? Why is my 6th choice selected in my editor? See, now it's not. Is it alphabetical, but it's putting... Oh my God, I have no idea why it does that. That is so weird. All right, so we'll try this again. tmux. Error exit status 1. Right. So I need more than that from you. Go give me more than exit 1. Exit status 1. So I can do something like yeah, hey, I think that it's definitely worth, Raycast is worth the extra cost you're asking in chat. I use ChatGPT 4, so I'm paying more on top of just Raycast Pro, which technically Raycast is great without the Pro, so you don't have to pay for it to use it. But hi, I think you might be right. It could be in Vim comp priority. Maybe a recent version of Lazy Vim changed it or something. I don't know. But I tend to use this one a lot. It's small for you guys, but it's just the right size for me. I guess they're saying. Yeah, I mean, I can make a good living. So, and plus these are tools. If you think about it from this point, at least if you can afford it, right? Because Raycast has a certain audience. So not everyone is within the scope of their price points. But as a developer, if I'm saving an enormous amount of time and effort using tools like ChatGPT 4, then I'm going to pay the extra money per year, because for me, the amount of value it's returning is sort of negligible to the cost. Like I almost don't even pay attention to the cost because of how useful it is for me. Like how much it helps me is way bigger than how much it costs. But it's one of those things that you just save a little money and maybe buy one less meal eating out or something. And a lot of people, you can use open source models too. So there are some options here to try to leverage language models without having to pay $10 a month. I know it's like 10 American dollars a month, give or take. And then GPT-4, they want you to pay like $20 a month or something. So if that's within your what you're making, then it could be worth it. But I am not a salesman, so take my word very lightly. All right, so they're saying if I do this, what's the difference here? So standard error comes from that. So it's the second part here. So command standard error, take the command output, something like that. Let's see if that makes it any better. Okay. tmxp. Python errors. Yep. Do we know what this means? Python 3.12 is being run. So it's executing Python. They're not even packaging this up as a binary. That's weird. So this is just straight up Python code executing via Python. Okay. But we're not really getting an error message here. We're just getting a stack trace. EOF when reading a line? End of file error? Sure, that could be it. So that means that I've actually broken this now. I can't get to that session. This end of file? We know that it runs though, so why would it matter? My only thought is like when it's triggered via the Go binary that it has trouble. I'm almost wondering if we should just run it as attached. So what's up? You think tmux is reading from standard in, and then your command run, maybe. That's fair. So path lookup's fine. The command itself, the way that we call it is we pass an argument of strings. That part also seems to be fine, but standard error is where it's failing. Something about the input. All right, so let's try it a different way. Let's try it without the session. Nope. So there's some input prompts, yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying. So the input prompt is like the last thing that got put in. Are we running the command right? So now let's make, we know tmux is running. Do we know the load command is running? It's one of those things that like when I run the command itself, it works. Let's take a look. So load and then path. Let's just see if socket name, socket path, config file, session name. Yes, DA. They don't tell you what DA is. Detached, maybe? Maybe I need to run the D flag. Maybe it's trying to attach and can't. There we go. That was why. So we need the D flag, which I kind of want to put this back. So what's happening was it was attempting to do tmux things. It's trying to attach, switch, do a thing, but because it was being run via the binary, it was like a system shell level thing. And it was like, hey, I don't know what this is. So let's go ahead and give it tmux. Tmux. Cool. That is a win, chat. That is such a win. That's very exciting. I love it. All right. So that's the feature. I mean, that's how it works. I don't know if you need session name, but it's definitely going to be one of those things that we now override the tmux. Let's make sure there's no more tmux. Oh, we got more errors. Did I undo too far? tmux p, no, it's fine. Build tmux. File not found. Okay, different error. Interesting. File not found in workspace stir. What is that about? Let's build. I'm going to go ahead and quit tmux. Stop it. This keyboard is new. All right, so workspace file not found in workspace dir. So it wanted a full path and didn't get it. tmux. Still weird to me. Can I like choose first on? Maybe we'll do a little lazy. We got lots of updates. Look at all these updates. Just one today. All right. Well, weird. Did this go away? I feel like this one would have gone away. Still there. Maybe. Can I get rid of that? Is it necessary? That's so weird. That is so weird to me. All right, so the detection is broken. We're supposed to load and we're supposed to be able to call the path. Apparently, I thought that it could be absolute. Because it's going to check user directories. I totally get that. Load your tmux config from anywhere by using the file name, assuming this. Yeah, but we don't need to do that. Does anyone here use tmuxp? Because I don't want to spend all stream trying to do one. Does anyone use any others like tmuxinator or tmuxify or tmosil? Does anyone use a different one? Path to my project. I guess what we could do is we could put this here. tmuxifier. Maybe we play around with that one. It looks like there's a ton of ways to use this. So I get a little bit nervous if it's going to throw some sort of error like, I can't load this because I don't know where this is located, when it's like, I just want this to consistently work every time, no matter where you are, no matter when you call it. Because right now it goes, I don't know where this workflow file is, but we know that file's there. So if we work backwards, file not found. And if I do this, it still doesn't work. And if I load it this way, it works. That's the part that throws me off. Sanity check. I know. That was the next thing I was going to do anyway. So config. All right. Workspace file not found in workspace stir. I'm not setting a workspace stir. Yeah, Jersey, fair question. Zoc, so you can do zocside query -l, gives you everything that you've ever entered in the zocside, right? So this is when you CD into things, or as you use the zocside CLI more, it actually ranks them. So sesh is the winner, dot files is third, server, these are like sesh config is down here in the list. Now if you do sesh list -z, you get the same list, which cool, great, I love that. And if you want, you can do the I flag and you can get icons with colors. Oh, that's cool. But where it gets powerful is you can then say T. And so it will put tmux and zocside together. And now you can add C, and it will give you tmux sessions configurations that you've set, custom configurations via sesh, and all your zocside results. And so now the power is, okay, this pop-up, I can now go to anything that's ever been zocside queried. And as you use this tool more, it improves the score of the zocside result. And so if I want to go to something like my website, we can see that it matches really well. But I also have guides, categories, projects, and content in zocside. So if I wanted to go like guide, right, I can go to that. And when I hit enter, it creates the session based off of that zocside result. And so that's the power in it. And so it's one of those things that you don't have to think about it, you just have to use it. And the more you use it, the more useful it becomes. But I don't get why this now cares about the session name needed to be a flag. Did I mistype this when I brought it back? I did. That would be it. Cool. So I kind of want to swallow the error. So that was the fix. It's funny that sometimes you just break things because you're not paying attention. We don't need to do that. So now we swallow the output. Let's go ahead and, oh, it does not want to switch to that. All right, so now we should get one tmux script. It should create it successfully. Oh, but it's using double quotes. Why does it care? Why the heck would it create? That's so dumb. Why would it do that? It's literally using the double quotes now. Does that mean that my original code doesn't need the double quotes? There we go. Because it's going to end up with, I don't like that. All right, let's try again. tmux. Yeah, it needs the double quotes. Because we were seeing tmux. There's no quotes here, but it's still making a stupid double quote thing. Why is it doing that? Why is it making 2 sessions? I thought we already fixed this. Why is this happening? Yep, it's making 2. Do I need to return somewhere? Maybe I'm actually doing this wrong. Maybe the CLI is supposed to not continue. This is ugly. This is like not great. I don't love this code. So more work to be done. So I think what was happening is it was running this and then it was running more. So I think that's what was going on. However, tmux may be the one that has its own limitations. It's my guess. Let's quit that. Let's quit that. tmux. Cool. So it made the double quoted one. Don't love that. So my guess is that this guy just isn't supposed to have the session, which Jersey, I can talk about how I'm doing the picker. It's actually supposed to be in the tmux project. So that's kind of, we're shooting ourselves in the foot here. I can't show it off until I come up with a better solution here. I will not use the session path for now. The session name is screwing this all up. So I'm going to just decide that we're going to do this detached. And then we're going to decide that that goes away. And tmux connect has just that argument. We're going to else do this. And then if it's not attached, we attach. We can't because the session name is different. This is just like a super clunky thing. I guess tmux p doesn't accept the session with double quotes, but it's going to blow up in our faces if there's a space in our name. So this is like a huge limitation. I'm going to offer the feature if someone has a better way of making this more developer friendly, then, so be it. But I think that this is just a mess of we're trying to do something with someone else's CLI, and it's kind of biting me in the ass today. All right, so it creates the tmux session based off of the name that was passed. However, I think we're going to run into this issue where I could list tmux p. What if I listed tmux p as a source? That would be better. I would be going down the approach of tmuxifier, but I'll answer Jersey's question while I take a little mental break from this. How are you opening this? So let's go to our config. Let's just get rid of that. Let's do that. So let's open up tmux. Basically, you can just set a custom tmux binding. So I have it bound to capital K, and there's a special run shell command. The run shell command basically does a sesh connect and then a sesh list using FCF tmux. So I've positioned it as a pop-up using the -p flag, so about 55 and 60 are the dimensions. And the rest of this is just tmux stuff, not tmux, FCF stuff. So border label, prompt, headers, key bindings. What's great about this is you put this in your tmux file. You can change this. This can be whatever you want. Like, these are just what work for me. In fact, something like config might be pretty great here, right? So we can say like cog. So there's our new cog. And we can say list-c. And we can say, okay, if you do, what do we want to say? If you do G for config, we'll do the end of it rather than the beginning, because we all know Control-C is to close, and so we don't want that one to be reused. And so we'll say G. And so now, if we do G, we can load all our configs. So kind of cool. And then I have like X and T and A. And we actually want I think that would look better. So now we have all, we have tmux, we have zoxide, we have config, we have a find command, which searches my system, A for all. So that's how it works. And if you're wondering how does it look this way, there's actually FCF stuff that I've done to say make it reverse, make it rounded border. I don't like the info, so I got rid of that. So no info gets rid of the extra clutter that shows up here. I set the pointer to the little button or the pointer, and ANSI colors make it sort of fit the capuchin theme. So all these colors fit because I'm using ANSI colors. So I'm using one of these values that come from the terminal. So that's it. That's how it works. tmux p, what are we going to do with you? So part of me thinks that if tmux p is added as a source, we could make it its own thing. And if you add a new tmux file, we could dynamically load it. So I don't know. I'm sort of in the air about this one. It feels clunky. We're not able to set the session in an obvious way like we were hoping, because apparently wrapping an argument in quotes makes tmux blow up. So do we submit an issue? Session. Like, I don't get why we can't in the CLI. tmux load. We can't load it that way. So if I do tmux load, append to the current, no. Thing with quotes, it literally accepts it this way now. So what is that about? That makes no sense. I guess if we end up with double quotes. Can we like escape one of the quotes? Maybe that's what's going on. So we've seen this before. Maybe we're getting lucky and our printer in Go is just happens to print it. So that might be it. I can try to hunt that down, because what I really want is this session name to come out as session name. So we had a trim. We were able to trim the session. Yeah, Jersey. Well, we got all these up. So FCF tmux is something that just gets installed when you install FCF, and anytime that you trigger it, it will always overlay anything on screen. So NeoVim, if I have like lazy get open, we can pop sesh open. So basically that binding works as a floating window for tmux. Like tmux has that feature is built in. All right, we're going to try this. Dude, FCF tmux is amazing. Check it out. All right, so that's that. That means that this guy still needs the session name. This is where I think a lot of this logic should probably be in the sesh connect, not the tmux connect. It feels a bit silly that we're sort of putting all this complicated logic here. All right, but I digress. I think that that's a reasonable place to try again. So let's kill that and let's rerun it. Oh, and then we need to take the config and we need to swap it out again. All right. So tmux, get rid of that, get rid of that. Go back to our CLI. It's already been built. Oh, look how quick it is. Dang. Fast. tmux. What happened? Double quotes again. What's with the double quotes? Can I try like single quotes? I feel like that's not going to be much different. Oh, we don't need to escape it. Okay. This actually should connect. I'm wondering why we're actually getting connection failure on here. We can use the built-in tool. Yeah, so it's being weird. Why is it being weird? Weird. Very weird is all I'll say. Let's try again. tmux. No previous window. Now it accepted it. All right. Well, let's take that as a win and let's maybe commit what we've got. I don't know what the previous window thing was about. That was a little bit odd. But I might just leave that up for... Oh, maybe there is something in the config that's causing that. Let's go ahead and go to the CLI and let's mess around with this. So this is our connect. Basically, I wanted to move that. We've got our load session and our tmux. So let's add tmux support. Move tmux connect to its own file. Add ability to define tmux in session config, use session name and workflow file path to start tmux if config found, and I guess that's it. So how are we doing on time? We're doing okay. That took a while. That took longer than I had hoped. Tmuxinator is a gem. I'll do this. Oh. Usage. So you name a project. Right. You can create or edit your projects with this. Create or edit local project will be stored in the current working directory. Instead, the default location is this. Windows panes. Hey, Andres, are you still here? If you are, do you have a sample project that works for you? I don't mind just continuing to work off of what I have, but I'm just curious if you have one that you're already using, or a good example. How do you actually call? Did I skip it? I want to do the connection. This is like all the config stuff. So then once it's there, Which one are you using? Tmuxifier? I don't remember which one you're using now. I'm misremembering. Tmuxinator? No, you're not using tmuxinator. You're using tmuxifier? Ugh. Why are all these names so similar? You're using tmuxifier. Okay, well let's Andres, I know you use these tools, so let's get this one to work. Get out of here, Typecraft. Do we need to boot Typecraft, everybody? I think we do. But you're only writing enterprise software for Windows, right? How far back in Windows are you compatible with on your applications? Do you go all the way back to Vista? Okay, so this is a totally different tool. So I'm dumb and I picked the wrong one. All right, so tmuxifier, do you just clone it? You clone it and put it on your path? Okay. Oh, that's good. You have ME supported. That's very important. All right, so tmuxifier, and then we're going to put it in my path. Put it in my path. So here's a nice little tip for everybody. I highly recommend that you, if you're a fish user like me, you have your, config fish. We're used to that, and then there's this config fish. But you'll see that mine is maybe 50 lines. There's homebrew, shell env. There's a couple of toolings that I want to hook in source, a couple of variables that I set that are sort of global things. But I highly recommend that you go into your confd and that you create separate configuration files for different things. So in this case, we're going to create a I'm going to get this wrong, tmuxifier.fish. And so now this will get loaded when fish loads, just like all the other configurations, but it lives on its own. So we can take this and we can say, okay, we're going to add this to the path. And this is actually an outdated way of doing it. I actually recommend fish add path. Let's go back to you can just say fish add path tmuxifier bin. So this is shorthand. It's a really clever, helpful fish utility that makes this a lot simpler. Yes, sir, Starship. So that's been set. You can also I would prefer probably this. So this is the tmux. I don't really like this dumb config that I came up with. I actually probably don't want to always open up gitmux. So let's do that. So there's my tmux. We'll add this guy. I like to sort it alphabetically. tmuxifier installed. And I actually have plugins. tmuxifier. All right, so it lives here. So what is this? This has got bin, and it's all driven by Chris. Are you using tmuxifier too? I forgot what your last video, you mentioned a tmux tool. I'm hoping to use this. The one you're using, I would gladly add as well to sesh. So that's what we want to add. So let's just go ahead and do the good old copy this directory, and we'll add this guy. Much better. And then I'm just gonna rmrf. tmuxifier. Don't you love that you go halfway down the instructions and there's totally different instructions for how to use it? And then this thing is set up. So you can see that we can just do all of this now in one place, which is great. You can overwrite arguments, very cool. Okay, so load session. Load session lets me load a specific session. Load window, that's cool. New window, load session. Do I only, how do I have to put it where it tells me to put it? All right, a little homework. I'm pretty sure that this was, it's happening, it's happening. Oh boy. Why do I have to give you guys ads? All right. You said tmuxifier. Right. So you've already talked about how this works. We're evaluating it. Is your example in source code anywhere? So, but if for the sake of sesh, you would typically map one of the window bindings to a certain session. So I wouldn't do anything clever. You guys, once I ship the feature, you guys could get this like immediately. So we need to come up with this, an example, tmuxifier. So like this, root window, new window, vsplit, command thing, do that, and then you could load example. So the way that this would work is new window, example, new window example, and then I don't mind their example if I can get around. I feel like there's a lot going on here. Okay. Desktop example window, vsplit, watch date, select pane. Okay, cool, fine. So I'll tell you guys, once I ship this feature, this is all you'd have to do, right? So we could say like, in the config, we can say there's a new one called desktop. Sure. And then we can say the startup command is tmuxifier load window example. And now, if I choose desktop, I actually want the path to be desktop, boom. And so now, well, the watch command won't be there, that's fine. And I CD'd into the thing I wanted. So I don't know, tmuxifier load window, edit window example. Example window, yeah, vsplit, watch. Okay, so the commands all didn't work right, but the idea was valid and worked. So just like that, you don't need, you just do this. Just tell me what the session is, tell me what tmuxifier window loader you want to use, and then it's not really that complicated. Part of me thinks, can I do this to the tmuxp? Can I not make it a tmuxp file, but just say that I'm going to run tmuxp in the tmuxp in like the attached mode? Part of me thinks that we would be better off. Load. So if I was here, can I say A for attached? Part of me doesn't want a session name. Part of me just says A and yes. This creates a new window. All right, so that didn't work. Oh boy, that didn't work at all. My thought right now is that session name's missing. I don't know then. I don't really know how this stuff works. But rather than loading a session, my thought was like, could you just load and overwrite the thing that you have? Load. We're already in tmux. So can I load already inside tmux, use session, or append windows to the current active session? So I want to do like, can I do -A? Renamed it dev window. Was that my example? Yeah, that was my example. Okay, so that was what I expected, right? So now what we should be able to do is this could be the config for, no, like desktop. So instead of this command, we could do something like that. So that sort of trade-off would mean you are leveraging the tooling. So let's see, we need to like, let's just kill. Desktop should create dev window. So I kind of prefer this. Approach if it simplifies our tooling. Now, if someone is married to tmuxp, like just use tmuxinator or tmuxifier, right? It's like maybe you just switch if it's worth the DX of it all. Like, what is the actual experience of me using this? Because here we have the load window, right? So load window is the same. Hey, it's going well. We made progress. I think I'm going to simplify what I do. So part of me thinks that this just needs to go away. I think I'm going to just say, if you want to load something, use the startup script or do something custom. I think adding some guardrails here is going to make me not go crazy. So we are going to not do this. We are tmux tmux connect. Basically going to get rid of that. And somewhere here, we're going to do that. So, yep, that works for me. It's not perfect, but it's a decent start. Remove tmxp logic and use, and have users use startup command with because I don't want to mess with that. That was a lot of headache, but we get the idea. tmuxifier is the same idea here, where pretty easy to just say load window. Chris, I don't know if you're still here, but do you do load window most of the time? We were glancing at your YouTube video. He does session. Okay. But this is a minor thing. I think it's a minor thing. I want people to leverage this system anyway. I wasn't going to try to be overly clever with the way that this stuff auto determines things. I think that gets a little bit crazy. But to be honest, there's probably an opportunity here to create your own. I could probably do it in chat. I could probably do this in a few minutes. Chris, this, if you're still around, this would be good for you to add to your workflow if you're already using tmuxifier. tmuxifier. So tmuxifier has load session, list sessions. So here's my window. So you could, in my tmux example, you could totally recreate this with like capital T. Do I have capital T bound to anything? No, I don't. Okay, so here you could say tmuxifier load session, and you could say that the session that you want to load is coming from tmuxifier list sessions. And so this sort of solution means that if I run, oh, I just swapped those, didn't I? If I were to run capital T, it should list sessions. Windows. So Windows is the only example I have right now. Load window, right? Load window, yeah. So now if I do prefix T, we can get example window, and just like that, example window exists. we could repeat that. You could also imagine that you could have your session picker be similar. If you guys really wanted, I think tmuxifier would be a more reasonable way of, it could be a more reasonable thing where we make it an option in the list. The only thing that I don't like about that is if the session already exists, I don't think that there's a clear way of me being able to overwrite that. So it sort of goes against the patterns of sesh, because we can't get additional details out. All we can get is the name. So I sort of like the idea of you loading a window. You can reuse those windows, but I think that we may want to update this. And by the way, my Raycast extension doesn't have it set up yet to work with some of these changes. So something that I'll have to mess with. How to use tmux for sessions. FCF. Configurations, startup scripts. So this becomes default session. Default session can be configured to run a specific command, and our config let's try that again. Well, vent and telescope. All right, well, chat, I'm feeling like I'm done for the day here soon. We'll be updating the README. There'll be some more exhaustive tests that will go into all of this, but I think in concept, all of the tooling that is useful to you right now, you can just use. In most cases, I actually think the startup command can solve almost all of the purposes that we need, including most of the tmux like session management tooling. It's like, well, you're going to use sesh for sessions, but if you want a custom window layout, you could reach for tmuxifier's tooling. You could reach for tmux-p or any of the tooling that does that, but it would just be a startup command. I think that would be easier. In general, I have found that having custom startup commands like desktop, right? Desktop does the loading of the window. But more importantly, like downloads opens up Yazzie, and the update command triggers the update command automatically. I actually have it set to updating now. So it's updating, and in like a minute or two, it's going to be done. And so we'll sort of leave. Same with like my FCF URL project. This is the entry file, so I just want to open that directly. Let's see, what else do I want to say? When it's done, it's not done yet. What else did I deal with? NeoVim, that one's pretty obvious. Binaries ended up being more useful because it's going to a /bin. But if you see, if I type /bin comes up a lot. Look at all these places that /bin shows up. So same with like Second Brain. This opens my daily note, which is cool. And so this is automatically just the Obsidian daily note just automatically opens when I open up that project. Same with Fish, the entry file. And so again, it's just the sesh config session now. Lets me just create these as much as I want. For those that aren't familiar, there is a new feature called import, which we just implemented and will be shipped with this. So if you want to create these sort of files with multiple sessions defined in a different file, you can import that one into the main file and use that. So that's something to look forward to. But you can see here, I already have quite a few that I've set up. As I have some new specific project that's really useful, I can jump to the config, I can set this up, and it will just immediately show up here. It's like WesTerm was another that's really useful. So boom, it just takes a few seconds. You know me and my icons and emojis, so I like kind of adding them to put some flair in it. But what I like the most is that when I kill the server, I can do whatever it is I want to do really, really quickly and easily without much of a second thought to how this stuff works. So yeah, this was fun. Definitely moved forward with a lot of the stuff that I wanted to move forward with. I do plan on streaming again tomorrow night. We'll probably keep doing sesh, but perhaps we can do some refactoring or some unit testing or some other pieces of it that might be not more interesting, but I know the README is going to be really important. So I want to be able to make sure I can clearly express how these things work, because I think that will be a tricky thing. So thanks for coming on. This was fun. A little second bonus stream for you this week. Thanks for those that were talking in chat. Hope you had a good time, and I will see you again the next time.